all they do and they're obsessed with it, or they're kind of on the other side where they don't know how often they should be on it and how to really use it wisely. Can you kind of take me through some tips that you might use on a daily basis that keeps you timely with social media, keeps the momentum going for you, but doesn't suck up all your time?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when it comes to something like Facebook, and I'll just go ahead and use Facebook specifically in this instance, I'm on there a couple of times a day. If somebody has tagged me, if somebody wants to get in touch with me, like be my friend, or somebody wants to email me through Facebook, I'll look at those things first. And then I'll just scroll down the timeline. I do that a couple of times each day. I don't have Facebook on my phone or any mobile device, so I'm not really attached to it like some people are, because I find that it moves fast, but I don't want it to interrupt my day or interrupt my other work. Twitter, on the other hand, because it's so quick for people to get messages to me and for me to get messages to people, if I've got a few minutes during the day, maybe in between a meeting, I will pull that up on my mobile device, and I'll try to get to people quickly when they say something to me, and I'll give them a response as quickly as I can.
Now, do you just do that on the fly, or do you say, okay, first thing in the morning, I'm going to Twitter, right after lunch, I do Facebook? Do you have any specific times a day, or is it just whenever's convenient in your schedule?
Well, both. I do Twitter. It's one of the first things that I do. Facebook, one of the first things that I do. I'll also do those things at the end of the day. And Twitter, I will also do throughout the day at varying times when I have that time available to me. But what I don't do is let Twitter, Facebook, any other kind of social media run my life. I do Twitter, and this is one of the reasons that I check it often, is because I don't want to add to my email clutter. I tell people if they want to get me, we've even said it here on this podcast, if you've got a question, a comment, if you've got a topic suggestion, reach out to us via Twitter, because that's really, really easy. We talked earlier in the first part of this episode, the red number 39, which is at redpodcast.com/39, what I call, don't tell me about the labor pains, give me the baby. And because Twitter is only 140 characters, people have to get to the point. It's really easy for people in email to give me a long, drawn-out story, and I try to avoid that, so I send people to Twitter when they have got like a customer service or an interactive question that they have to ask me.
It's kind of a time management thing for you, because it's easier to answer people's questions and interact with them via Twitter than via email.
Yeah, absolutely. And my Twitter situation is not so much that it's overwhelming to me. Like, I've got a friend of mine, John Acuff, and you know John. You've met John.
Oh, yeah.
He's New York Times best-selling author. He's got probably 250,000 people following him via Twitter. I've got about 11,000. So
Big difference.
Big difference as far as the manageability. He has a lot more interaction. So it could be that that would become super overwhelming to me eventually, but it hasn't yet, and I'll reevaluate it if it ever does.
I think if it is overwhelming, or if it is sucking up your time and you're not getting the payout that you would like from it, I think just scheduling time in your day, that's what really helps me, is to put it on the calendar and say, okay, this is social media time, and it keeps me on the ball. And when I can actually do it, you have an hour maybe to do it, and then you go on to other things, so you don't get sucked into it, but you still do what you need to do, and you make it work for you and work in your time frame. Do you use anything, David, like Hootsuite or any of these other social media tools?
Not for Twitter. For Twitter, I just have the very basic Twitter application. I think Twitter actually is the publisher of that on both my desktop and my laptop. I use just a web browser for Facebook. And those are the two main ones that I use. I'm on many social networks, Google+, but what I don't want these things to do is be yet another thing that I've got to do during my day. They exist to help me. They're a tool to help me get the message out, to help me interact with people, but they're not something that I want to take away from me doing my work itself.
Yeah, and on social media, we've talked about some great tools today, and I'm going to sum those up in just a minute here. But don't confuse using social media with being productive. there's going to be a difference. There's a productive way to be on social media, and there's a non-productive way to be on social media. And you have to recognize the difference between the two. If you're following good habits, if you have a strategy on there, that's going to help you grow your business. But if you're just kind of randomly posting and randomly on there, it's not going to be adding to what you're doing, and it's not going to be increasing your profits. So keep that in mind when you're trying to increase your platform and put a strategy in place.
Yeah, again, it's a tool, and a tool, when you think about it, is neutral. For example, a hammer, one of the most basic tools. You can do a lot of things with it. You could build a house with it, or you could kill somebody with it. And the same for social media. It can run you up that ladder, or it can be a distraction that keeps you from getting your work done, and you don't want that.
Let me sum up what we talked about today. Number 1 was make other people look good. This is going to help you. It's going to help them. Number 2, ask for something and then listen. Keep the conversation going. Number 3, have a call to action. Let your audience members know what you would like them to do. Be specific. Number 4, tag people in photos, whether you go to a seminar, whether you have a podcast with a guest, tag people. Keep the momentum going. Don't just hit and run. Keep the conversation going. And number 6 is be timely. Take advantage of the fact that social media is instant.
We're available via social media, Twitter. You can get me at David Hooper. Laurel is at Laurel Staples. And if you've got a suggestion for a future Red podcast, we are there, available to take those suggestions and also answer your questions on the subject of entrepreneurship. Anything that you've heard here, we're happy to follow up on that with you.
Also, you can find us online on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, a lot of other platforms. All of that is listed on redpodcast.com. And if you got something out of the show, if you like the tips today, we would love it if you left a review on iTunes, and you can just visit redpodcast.com and follow our link there to leave a review.
Any final thoughts about social media, Laurel?
I liked what you said, David, is that social media is a tool, and just make sure that you're not wasting your time with this tool. Most people, it's just a waste of time. It feels like you're working, but you're not really getting much done. You want to spend most of the time in your business working on the tasks that make you money. Social media can be that task, and you can make it that task, but follow these good habits and practices and strategies to make it something that works for you to build your business and not just waste your time.
Yeah, I want to end on a story about numbers. A lot of times people used to see this with MySpace. I think MySpace was where the whole numbers thing started. People would rub their hands together. Ooh, I've got 20,000 friends. And you act like 20,000 friends is twice as good as 10,000, and 10,000 is 10 times as good as 1,000, and 1,000 is 10 times as good as 100. But that is not the case. If you've got a small amount of dedicated people on your social media, you don't need big numbers to get the interaction that you're looking for. And I think what we were talking about, Laurel, when we talk about don't confuse movement with action, that's where people get caught up. They think that by adding friends, by adding those numbers, that they're going to get better interaction. They're going to get more people to their website, more people buying their stuff and their message out there a little bit better. That's not the case. I would focus on quality over quantity. And if you follow these steps that we went over today here on this podcast, number 40, and go to redpodcast.com/39 for the first part of this episode, you really will be able to dominate social media with even the smallest amount of followers.
Sounds good to me.
Laurel, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Again, if you've got tips or questions, you can reach out to us. The Red Podcast account is on Twitter at The Red Podcast. Happy to answer those questions, and we will see you next time.
You've been listening to Red Podcast, Real Entrepreneur Development. Subscribe today using iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.